Welcome and thank you for joining us today. Before we begin, a question for you. Have you ever been told that you're too emotional to succeed? What if I told you that one of the most successful women in the world, Oprah Winfrey, is actually a master of failure, and that her weaknesses were her greatest assets? Her path to a billion-dollar empire wasn't paved with triumphs, but with public humiliating defeats that shaped her every move. Stick around to discover the shocking true story of 5 devastating failures that didn't destroy Oprah, but instead forged her into the unstoppable icon she is today. Oprah Winfrey's journey began not with a relentless pursuit of fame, but with a deep-seated, almost sacred desire to connect with the human experience. She saw journalism as a profound duty, a way to bring important truths to light, and to be a voice for those who couldn't speak for themselves. This passion was driven by a powerful empathy that she carried with her from her challenging childhood, a sensitivity that she considered her greatest strength. She worked her way up through local broadcasting, finally securing what she believed was her dream job: a news anchor in Baltimore at the young age of 22. It was a role she had tirelessly pursued, feeling a profound sense of purpose. She believed this was the perfect platform for her to use her voice and fulfill her destiny, a place where her deep sincerity could finally shine. However, her emotional nature was quickly seen as a significant professional weakness by her managers, who were disturbed by her raw, unfiltered reactions on camera. She found it impossible to remain detached and objective when confronted with stories of human tragedy or hardship, often openly weeping during interviews. She simply couldn't hide her genuine, heartfelt feelings, a trait her bosses viewed as a serious flaw. Her managers decided her emotional sincerity made her entirely unfit for the serious, stoic world of hard news. In a humiliating and very public moment, they demoted her from her anchor position. This rejection was a devastating personal blow, as it felt like they were not just criticizing her work, but rejecting the very essence of who she was. She was told directly that she was too emotionally invested, and that she needed to toughen up for the job. This feedback left her feeling confused, heartbroken, and utterly defeated, believing her career was over before it had even truly begun. She felt her unique identity was being rejected by the industry she loved most, a pain that lingered for years. In a bizarre twist, the network offered her a last resort position as a co-host on a local talk show. They considered the job a punishment, a way to keep her on the payroll while limiting her visibility. Oprah reluctantly accepted the demotion, feeling defeated and ashamed. She was giving up her journalistic ambition to discuss light topics. The talk show, called People Are Talking, was the lowest rated in the city, and she believed she had been assigned a job with no future. It was a near impossible challenge, one that seemed designed for failure. This new miserable position was a daily reminder of her professional humiliation and her supposed shortcomings. Despite her shame, she decided to take a huge risk by embracing her natural style, the very thing that had gotten her fired. Instead of trying to be a hard, serious journalist, she was authentic, emotional, and genuinely interested in the lives of her guests. She would laugh, she would cry, and she would share her own experiences with the audience. This was the most painful yet most important professional failure of her life, as it forced her to stop pretending to be someone she wasn't. Her vulnerability, once a professional flaw, became the magnetic force that drew millions of viewers to her. It was a crucial lesson. What seems like a failure can be a hidden opportunity to find your true self. The overwhelming success of The Oprah Winfrey Show led her to feel a new kind of power and confidence. She launched her own production company, Harpo Productions, and began to invest in other ambitious projects, believing her name was a seal of quality that could guarantee success in any venture. This sense of invincibility was a natural consequence of her unparalleled rise, but it was also a dangerous new weakness. Her first major foray into publishing, the Oprah magazine, was a perfect example of this. The magazine was an immediate and massive success, a testament to her incredible influence and the unwavering trust her audience had in her. This triumph made her feel like a Midas, cementing her reputation as a business genius, but her confidence would soon be tested by a new, painful mistake. However, even at the peak of her power, failure was still a crucial part of her journey. She decided to invest in a new, separate magazine, an ambitious project that she believed would be a huge hit just because her name was attached to it. This time, her business instincts failed her completely. She later admitted to being too detached from the project, trusting others' advice rather than her own gut feelings. The new magazine was a financial and creative disaster from the very beginning, and it completely failed to connect with its target audience. The venture was a total flop, and it was a difficult, humiliating lesson for her to learn in the public eye. The magazine was shut down after just a few issues, an embarrassing end to a project that had been so full of promise. Oprah felt a deep sense of personal responsibility and shame, as if she had let down not just her team but the millions of people who had trusted her. She had poured so much of her time and her personal wealth into the project, and seeing it fail was a deeply painful experience. This setback was a harsh reminder that her brand was not a magical shield against failure. The public embarrassment forced her to become more cautious and to finally listen to her inner voice, which had initially raised doubts about the venture. The experience was a crucial lesson in humility, reminding her that even the most powerful people can and will make mistakes. She took the painful lessons from this public flop and used them to guide her next projects, which would be far more successful. The failed magazine venture was a significant wake-up call, forcing her to reevaluate her entire business strategy. She decided to focus more on projects that she was truly passionate about, rather than just on those that seemed profitable on paper. This renewed focus on authenticity and personal investment led her to create more meaningful content, including her famous book club and documentaries. This was the second of many devastating failures that would shape her journey. It was a powerful lesson that taught her the importance of being fully invested in her work, not just in name, but with her whole heart. She proved that even a public business failure could not stop her from achieving her ultimate goals. The failure of this magazine was a painful but necessary step on her journey to becoming a business mogul. She learned that true power and influence come from authentic passion and dedication, not from a famous name. This lesson would guide her for the rest of her career, helping her build a more resilient and impactful empire. After her monumental success with the talk show and her initial magazine triumphs, Oprah's empire expanded to include film and television production. She was a powerhouse in the media world, and her audience trusted her with their time and attention, making her believe that her golden touch was infallible. This confidence, born from years of success, would soon lead to a major professional misstep. She had high hopes for a new television show that she produced, a project she believed would be another triumph. The show was about a group of women trying to find love, and it was meant to be a fun and engaging addition to her brand. She was personally excited about it, feeling that it would be an instant hit that would resonate with her audience. But it was not. The show failed to connect with the audience, despite having her name attached to it. The ratings were dismal, and it was swiftly canceled after just a few episodes. The failure was a very public defeat for Oprah, as the critics were not kind to her or her team. This flop was a harsh, embarrassing reminder that her incredible brand was not enough to make a show successful. She learned a painful lesson. She couldn't just rely on her name and brand recognition, but she had to have a genuinely good story and a strong, dedicated team. It also showed her that a project she liked personally wouldn't necessarily be a hit with her audience. This public failure was a personal blow to her ego and forced her into a period of deep self-reflection. She felt a profound sense of shame for having put her name on a project that didn't meet her own high standards. She had to admit her mistake publicly, which was a very difficult thing for her to do. She took the lessons from this failure to heart and applied them to her next projects, which would be far more successful. She began to focus on creating shows that were more aligned with her core values, such as the importance of education and personal growth. She realized that her true calling was to use her platform for a higher purpose, to inspire and educate people, not just to entertain them. This was a crucial lesson, and it was one that would help her become a more successful and more respected leader in the media world. She learned that it was not enough to simply put her name on a project. She had to believe in it with her whole heart. The failure taught her the importance of being fully invested in her work, both personally and professionally. After conquering television, Oprah began to build her media empire, and she placed people she trusted into positions of power. She gave a key executive role within her company, Harpo Productions, to her closest friend of over 2 decades, a woman she considered family. This appointment was a public show of her unwavering trust, a bond built over years of shared history and success. The shocking discovery of the betrayal was not something she learned in a tabloid, but through a private investigation. Her team uncovered evidence that her friend was leaking confidential, sensitive stories about her private life to the media for personal profit. This calculated act was a cold, brutal violation of the trust Oprah had so freely given. Without hesitation, Oprah took immediate and decisive action. She arranged a final, private meeting with her friend to confront her with the evidence. In that meeting, she ended the relationship and severed all ties, publicly and professionally, with no room for reconciliation. This swift, firm decision to cut off her closest friend was a clear message to her inner circle. Integrity and loyalty were non-negotiable. She also made a public statement about the painful incident, choosing to be honest about the betrayal rather than hide it. The aftermath forced her to put up emotional walls, and the experience left her feeling heartbroken and exposed. The betrayal's fallout had a lasting and profound impact on her life. It forced her to re-examine her leadership style and her personal boundaries, teaching her a harsh but invaluable lesson about the fragility of trust. She learned that even with her vast success, she was still vulnerable to being hurt by those closest to her. This private and profound failure, more than any public flop, was what truly forged her resilience. It taught her a lesson that went far beyond business, making her a more discerning and cautious leader. This pain was a necessary step on her journey to becoming a stronger and wiser woman. After dominating daytime television for 25 years, Oprah made a monumental decision to end her show and launch the own Oprah Winfrey Network. It was an unprecedented move, a bold bet that she could transition her audience to a 24/7 cable channel dedicated to personal growth, documentaries, and reality programming. She and Discovery Communications invested hundreds of millions of dollars into the venture, with the full expectation of immediate success. But the launch was a devastating public failure, becoming a masterclass in how not to build a network. The initial programming lineup was a complete mess, a jumble of disjointed shows like the celebrity talk show The Rosie Show and a series of documentaries that failed to grab viewers' attention. The content lacked a clear identity and purpose, and viewers who tuned in for Oprah found a channel that felt empty and unfocused. The ratings were consistently dismal, falling far short of expectations, which led to staggering financial losses. The media was relentless in its criticism, calling the network a flop and a testament to Oprah's first true failure in television. Faced with this monumental flop, Oprah did not retreat. She decided to take back control of her empire. She took immediate, decisive action, firing the network's CEO and taking over as head of programming herself. She went back on camera to create new shows like Oprah's Next Chapter, which featured the intimate, one-on-one conversations that were her true strength. She also made the painful decision to cancel expensive, underperforming shows and cut staff to stop the financial bleeding. The turnaround was slow, but her personal involvement and commitment to authentic content eventually started to pay off. The network's ratings slowly began to climb, proving that a leader's resilience and direct action can save a failing project. The failure taught her a crucial lesson: that success is not about a brand, but about unwavering personal commitment and the willingness to get your hands dirty. After successfully turning around her own network, Oprah's career entered a new phase of strategic, purposeful expansion. Today, she no longer hosts a daily talk show, but she remains a powerful force as a media executive and a content creator. With her personal net worth estimated at over $2.8 billion, she has focused on building a network of high-quality, inspiring programming that reflects the wisdom she gained from her past failures. Her famous book club has found a new, global home on Apple TV+, where she continues to champion new authors and engage in deep conversations with readers worldwide. She has also executive produced a series of powerful documentaries and specials that tackle complex social issues, including her recent work on mental health and systemic inequalities. Her focus has shifted from daily entertainment to impactful, long-form storytelling. Beyond her media ventures, Oprah has channeled her resources and influence into significant philanthropic work, most notably through her Oprah Winfrey Charitable Foundation. The foundation has invested millions of dollars in educational initiatives and global women's empowerment projects. She remains a prominent advocate for social justice, using her platform to bring attention to important causes. In recent years, she has also returned to acting, taking on more serious and complex roles in films like A Wrinkle in Time. These career choices show that she is no longer chasing fame or ratings, but is instead pursuing creative projects that challenge her personally and professionally. Her current work is a clear reflection of the lessons she learned from past failures, focusing on quality, personal investment, and social impact. Today, Oprah's empire is a testament to her profound resilience and her ability to reinvent herself. Her current status as a media mogul, philanthropist, and thought leader is not just a result of her talent, but a direct consequence of her willingness to learn from every setback. She continues to inspire millions by showing that true success is about growth, not just achievement. The 5 devastating failures that Oprah faced were not roadblocks, but rather a deliberate series of lessons that sculpted her into an unstoppable force. The humiliation of being fired for being too emotional taught her that her authenticity was her superpower, the very foundation of her genuine connection with people. This painful public setback was the first step toward her global success. Her failed ventures in publishing and television production gave her a crash course in business and leadership. They showed her that a name and a brand were not enough. A leader had to be personally and deeply invested in every decision, a lesson that proved critical in the next chapter of her career. These failures forced her to reevaluate her strategy and choose projects based on passion, not just profit. The gut-wrenching betrayal by her closest friend taught her a profound lesson about self-protection. It forced her to put up necessary emotional boundaries and to become more discerning about who she trusted. This private event ultimately made her a more cautious and wiser woman, which in turn strengthened her public persona and her ability to lead. The initial failure of the OWN network was the final and most defining test of everything she had learned. Faced with massive losses, she didn't hide. She took back control, fired the CEO, and returned to her authentic self, proving that a leader's resilience is forged in the fires of defeat, and her true power is her willingness to get her hands dirty. The woman who was once told she was too emotional now uses that same emotional depth and vulnerability to inspire millions. Her story is a powerful reminder that failure is not the opposite of success, but an essential part of it. She has become an icon not by avoiding mistakes, but by publicly owning them, learning from them, and using them to grow stronger. If you've been inspired by Oprah's journey, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to our channel to see more stories of incredible people who turned failure into massive success. Your support helps us create more content just like this. And let us know in the comments below, which of Oprah's failures taught you the most valuable lesson?